1565 for 75,000. The motion was made by Mrs. Anderson. There was a second by Mr. Youngblood, and the vote carried 5-0. And now, to open up our board meeting, I am happy to introduce the Esperanza Show Choir with the leadership of Michael Klein.
Hey, good evening, everyone. How are we doing?
Good.
We are Reverberation. We are the show choir at Esperanza High School. The thing that sets a show choir apart from a regular choir is not only do they sing, but they also dance. They compete and they perform at local competitions throughout the year. They put together a group. Oh, I'm so glad that I was like, kids, if you could like turn around while they're singing. Of the competitions this year. Yeah, really proud of that. Musicianship and showmanship awards, best performer right there and right there. We have Run scrambling from work to come up and join us. I told her to just run up and join us. But they are phenomenal kids. The interesting, cool thing about what we do is we put together different styles of pop music, different genres, to put together to become a story. And so the song that we're going to perform for you is called Secret for the Mad. It closes our set. It's a story. It's called Fernando. It's set in a faraway, like 1804. Fernando returns from a faraway war, and she's changed completely, and her family's trying to figure out what happens. And it's really the story of how a family can come together and bring someone out from the muck and mire of whatever they're going through to come together and bring them back into the family. It features two soloists, Kinsey Grimes and Preston Wilson. On a personal note, I just want to say this is my first year in the district. This is my 8th year teaching, and this is just the best year of teaching I've ever had. These are just the greatest speakers in the world. I love Esperanza. I also teach at Bernardo Yorba Middle, 2 fantastic schools. The culture has been wonderful, really positive. You're going to really miss these seniors a lot. We hope you enjoy. This is Secret for the Mad.
Secret for the night. In a little bit of time, it won't hurt so bad. And I get it that I don't get it. But you will burn right now, then you won't regret it. You're not gonna believe a word I say. What's the point of just drowning another day? And I get that I don't get it, but the world will show you that you won't regret it.
Little things or stereotypes are gonna help you get through this one night. And there will be a day when you can say you're okay and mean it. I promise you it'll all make sense again. It'll all make sense. I'm a shoulder you can cry on. Your best friend, I'm the one you can rely on. You were always sure of yourself. You were always sure of yourself. Now I see you broken and better. Now I see you broken and better. I hope we can patch it up together. Chickens geese are you and I know. We know how the heartaches come and they go, and the stars go and leave it. And you'll be dancing once again, and the pain will end. will have no time for grieving. She can see tell you and I cry, and I will cry. With the sun is in the sky and shining above you. Let me hear you sing once more, like you did before. It'll all make sense again. Go ask me, I'm gonna fight them all. Go ask me, all make sense again. Go ask me, I'm gonna fight them all. Go ask me, can you hear the drums burn and go? Burn and go.
Thank you very much and good night.
Michael, before you leave, I just want to make everyone aware that Dr. Gates stole Michael from Low South.
Thank you once again. And I think it's just so important that we, when we do these board meetings, because for anybody, parents watching at home, you can see what is available at high school. So with that, Mrs. Buck, will you lead some pledge allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so next I'm going to introduce our next speaker, who is giving our inspirational message. She's kind of a household name. Everyone knows her, Edie Israel. She has done amazing things for our community. In fact, she just really spearheaded for the Global Women's Club scholarships for all of our students, in our district with art, with the arts, and it was just an amazing program. And it really just recognizes all of the talents. And so I'm pleased to ask Edie Israel to give us our inspirational message this evening. And if she can get a microphone, please.
Thank you. Put on. Good evening, Superintendent, Lieutenant, Board President Blake, our honorable trustees, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to speak to you about the Yorba Linda Women's Club Scholarship Program. Yorba Linda Women's Club is comprised of about 125 members now. We're growing, and one of our members is Mrs. Carrie Buck, which we really appreciate you. So glad that you're with us. Last night, and that's last Thursday, we had a very exciting evening as we had our Yorba Linda Women's Club annual scholarship award event. And I have the privilege of being this chairperson of the scholarship portion. And our committee, along with the arts committee, reviewed applications and artwork to determine winners. We had over 400 attendees, which implied students, families, teachers, and administration. It was a great turnout. And that night, $45,000 was awarded to various categories. Starting with the art contest, there was first, second, and third place in each category, which included painting, drawing, 3D art, and photography. Judging was divided into age groups 9 to 10 and then 11 to 12. And one senior from Valencia was best in prize, and she received a $1,000 scholarship. Next, the teacher grant award. This is a new category, which Luis Hernandez, one of our wonderful members, started a few years ago, and it's really grown. And it's just to provide a little acknowledgement to some of the local teachers, and we had $4,000 to spend on that. We had 23 teachers from all grades were honored. And at our event, we had 3 teachers come up and present what they used. Not a lot of money to do, but it was just amazing. Two first grade teachers from Fairmont talked about a really great phonics program that's effective with their students, and then a high school teacher from Valencia used his money to get some textbooks that will help his students write more college level papers. So it's great. Another one, which is amazing, is a longtime Riverland family, the artist family. Gordon and Marie Artist's son Matthew was awarded a scholarship in 2018 from the Women's Club. Matthew was born deaf. Matthew was born deaf. And through the school support and through the support of this district, Matthew not only got started in college, but he's in graduate school. And this made a huge impact on the artist family. So since 2018, they have collaborated with us to provide scholarships and have since started their own foundation, but we still collaborate. And so their foundation awards scholarships to college-bound seniors who are deaf or hearing impaired. 5 students were awarded this scholarship. That is amazing. It was just so great. 23 students were awarded academic scholarships and 4 vocational scholarships, which totaled $27,000. And these students are so accomplished in what they do scholastically, but also their contribution to the community, which is amazing as well. We had to go through on the academic side, I think about 80 applications, and each of them, all of them, mentioned a teacher, a counselor, somebody that really made a difference in their academic career. Emotional support, helping students apply for grants. The other program is the AVID program, which has been, we have so many AVID students win. These students are coached and trained to apply for college successfully, and it's just a generational game changer in our community. My favorite category is the most improved student from each high school. This is something we started last year. It was so well received. We're going to continue doing it. Each school, the counselors for each school nominate a student. One student, for example, was 50 units behind in his junior year, and he's caught up. He's going to graduate through the help of counselors, special programs, night school. And you know, it's interesting. I just said, "So what happened?" And he said, "I got it. I know I have to do this." And that was great. The best part about that category is those 4 students have never had an award, never. So they brought it up, and 400 people should get an award. So at the end of the evening, there was such joy, and it was just so fulfilling to see these students and the teachers and the counselors get together and have such a great evening. And for sure, we have a great district here doing very special things. Last but not least is if you see the craft fair in November or March, shop it, because that's where we get all of our money. That's our only fundraiser. So that's all I have to say. But thank you so much for this opportunity.
Super low, but it looks like it's on the left. Thank you, Edie, for coming and sharing. I've been able to do some of those scholarship evaluations and do all those through the Women's Club, and it's a wonderful opportunity. I'm super excited that you had that new opportunity for the students that are the ones that have made such great strides. So I am so proud of the Normal Women's Club, and thank you for coming and sharing. Thank you for inviting her.
Of course, and I'm a member as well. So last year, no, you're fine. But last year, that's where I remember. I don't know if you guys remember those bracelets that I was the Travis Ranch girls. They were selling the bracelets at the craft fair, and so it's a great event. And so we have a lot of like young entrepreneurs there as well. So if we can get out there, especially since it's supporting our students, that would be great. Okay, I'm going to do roll call. Is Todd on? Okay, so Todd is Todd is calling in tonight, so I'm going to show that all the board members are present and our student board member. Thank goodness I was able to make it. Next is the approval of our agenda, and originally our student board member Emily Sun had a conflicting event, was not going to be able to join us tonight. However, the agreement was canceled and she is here. Before I take a motion for the approval of the agenda, I'd like to ask the board to consider adding the student board report item back onto the agenda right before the superintendent's report. Okay. Todd, you good with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, then I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Mrs. Buck, I have a second by Mr. Youngblood. Any comments? All right, all those in favor, I have to do a roll call vote. Emily. And Mrs. Buck. Aye. Mrs. Anderson. Aye. Mr. Youngblood.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries 5-0 with an aye from our student board member. All right, our public comment announcement. Our public comment cards are available on the foyer. Cards must be completed and turned in prior to the designated time for public comment. There will be a maximum of 3 minutes per person, depending on the amount of speakers. If translation is needed, please let us know ahead of time so we can ensure that we are prepared. We do have a disability policy, Education Code 220 prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability, gender, gender identity, gender expression, nationality, race or ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or any other characteristic that is contained in the definition of hate crimes set forth in 422.55 of the Penal Code, including immigration status. And just one comment about that, we're not going to tolerate this time if someone comes up to the podium and wants to make any comments about people's religion or say the word carpetbagger, they will be asked to leave immediately. Now I need a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. As a regular meeting on April 16th.
I have a motion by Mrs. Anderson, a second by Mr. Youngblood. Any comments? Roll call vote, please. Miss Emily. Present. Yes. Mrs. Buck?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Youngblood?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries 5-0 with an aye from our student board members. Okay, I'm gonna turn this over to Dr. Young to introduce our Avid Middle School standouts.
Okay, good evening, President Blaze, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Turnus, and fellow executive cabinet members. Tonight, we will take the time to honor some very determined eighth graders in our Advancement via Individual Determination program known as AVID. AVID is a nonprofit organization that supports students by helping schools shift to a more equitable, student-centered approach. The program's mission is to close the opportunity gap by preparing all students for college and career readiness and success in our global society. Each year, the AVID Standout Award is given to students who demonstrate excellence, collaboration, integrity, and service in their academic achievements and individual determination. These 6 students who are being recognized tonight are being recognized for their high GPA, community service, and involvement in leadership and extracurricular activities. Many hours of dedication and hard work are behind these students' accomplishments. This recognition represents the determination, perseverance, and commitment each student has demonstrated toward their education. Joining us to honor and support these outstanding students are their principals, counselors, teachers, coordinators, and Paula Court, our district's AVID teacher on special assignment who supports and coordinates the program across our 24 schools. In addition, we would also like to acknowledge and thank our students' families for their continued support and being present with us tonight. I'd like to invite this time AVID 8th grade standout from Bernardo Yorba Middle School, Miranda Perez, and AVID teacher Phil Seitz to join me next to the left. Also in the audience to support Miranda tonight are Principal Dr. Beth Fisher and Assistant Principal Rachel Collins.
Miranda Perez is an outstanding example of what AVID can do with a student who is individually determined. It needs a little guidance and support. She readily accepts direction and then focuses on the learning. She's not deterred by the tasks at hand, but is driven to grow as a learner. She gets along with her classmates who respect her and her work. Her work in the core classes outside of Avid only further demonstrates Miranda's capabilities. Let's give her a round of applause.
Next up, I'd like to invite the Avid 8th grade stand-up from Kramer Middle School, Melanie Rebelliar-Lua, and Avid teacher Kristen Spicer to join me. Principal Michael Young, Assistant Principal Matt Calloway, and Avid Site Coordinator Beth Mazurier are also in attendance to cheer on Melanie tonight.
Hi. Melanie Rebelliar-Lua was selected as Kramer's Avid stand-up this year. Melanie's academic growth exemplified the successes of the Avid program, while her character exceeds school expectations. Melanie is a 4.0 honors student and an ISP leader, but above all, she is a kind, encouraging, and empathetic person. She is well-rounded and dedicated, balancing her time between academics, sports, service, and family responsibilities. Avid has helped Melanie focus her future career goals and develop skills for success in pursuit of becoming an immigration lawyer.
Next, we'd like to recognize Avid 8th grade stand-up from Travis Ranch School, Honora Doty, and Avid teacher Kimmy Carlos to join me. Kristen Petrovaki, principal at Travis Ranch, is also with us this evening.
Before I start, it was really cool because Preston, who did the solo up there, he was an Avid stand-up for Travis 4 years ago. So that was pretty darn special. These kids are so rad, I swear. All right, Honora is a really, really special young lady who embodies every expectation of an Avid student. She is positive, energetic, focused, and dedicated. She's always working on her academics, her art, her relationships, her character. Honora is a light on our campus. Her joy is palpable, heard through her laughter, seen from her smile, and felt from her inclusiveness. She's a well-rounded individual who embraces challenges with grace and perseverance. She will undoubtedly do great things in this world and be who we want and need, leading us in the future. Let's give her a round of applause.
Next, I'd like to invite the Avid 8th grade standout from Tuffy Middle School, Isabel Pechikowski, and Avid teacher Darshell Lapworth to join me. Principal at Tuffy, David Okamoto, and Assistant Principal Sarah Barton are also here to support Isabel.
Isabel exemplifies individual determination. She has shown persistence and perseverance in school and extracurriculars. She does not shy away from challenges, but instead embraces them and puts forth her best effort with a positive and focused attitude. In addition, Isabel is a leader on our campus and is actively involved in school activities. As one of her teachers said, she demonstrates the perfect balance of grace, poise, and assertiveness that you would hope for in a leader. She is making our school a better place just by being herself, and she is a wonderful example for all of her peers. We couldn't be more proud to have Isabel represent Tuffy as our Avid standout recipient.
Next up, I'd like to invite Avid 8th grade standout from Validus Middle School Academy, Daniel Warren, and Avid teacher Sabrina Bowie to join me. Daniel has a whole group of supporters here this evening, including Validus Principal Dr. Krista Borges, Assistant Principal Genesis Melendez, Counselor Denise Placencia, and Avid Site Coordinator Jackson Hall.
Daniel truly embodies the Avid spirit. He has a genuine passion for learning, consistently going above and beyond to achieve his goals. Daniel is not only supportive of his peers, but also a natural leader, guiding and inspiring others towards success. His well-rounded character is evident in his involvement as an ASB president and wrestling team captain. Daniel's positive attitude and willingness to help others makes him a role model for his peers and a true asset to our school community. Whether advocating for his needs or rallying behind classmates, Daniel's leadership, diligence, and compassion leaves leaves a lasting mark on everyone he encounters.
Everybody shift just slightly down. We have one more amazing student to honor. Lastly, I'd like to invite the Avid 8th grade standout from Yorba Linda Middle School, Aiden Avila, and Avid teacher Lena Howard to join me. They're joined tonight by Yorba Linda Middle School principal Paige Stills and counselor Sally Weir.
Aiden truly exemplifies the ideals and spirit of an exemplary, avid student who is truly well-rounded, excelling both academically and in sports. Despite juggling a very busy schedule, he consistently maintains a 4.0 GPA, always challenges himself, and perseveres through any obstacle. Aiden's leadership qualities and positivity make him a role model to his peers. His impressive work ethic and dedication to excellence ensure that he will undoubtedly achieve great things in high school and beyond. We are immensely proud to have Aiden represent Yorba Linda Middle School as this year's 8th grade Avid standout.
The Avid 8th grade standouts will also be recognized by the Orange County Department of Education and Angels Baseball on May 8th at Angels Stadium in Anaheim. All of our students will receive a certificate, medal, and possibly a Chromebook. Remarkably, Melanie Revelar-Lua, who we shared about earlier from Kramer, who don't mind me reviewing, will be awarded a $10,000 scholarship for college. She will be one of only 8 recipients in the entire county. As a small token of our admiration for these bright young students, we will be presenting them with a custom PYLUSD Avid Challenge Coin and a certificate. Let's congratulate all of our 2024 Avid standouts with one more round of applause. Shake hands with our board members, return to the front of the dais for a picture, and then return to the seats.
All right, we'll take a 2-minute break and let the parents and the students, if they would like to leave, go ahead and head out, and the rest of us, we will resume in 2 minutes.
Wow. I don't want to do this anymore. What now? Oh, so much happening right there. There's hardly anybody. And I wonder why. Wow, this is too much.
Okay, now that everybody's back in their seats, let's, I'm gonna go to our student board report and you can take it away. And we are very glad that you're here tonight.
Good evening, President Blades, Trustees, Superintendent Dr. Churnis, and Executive Cabinet members. I'm excited to be here tonight to share recent happenings from our comprehensive high schools and alternative campuses. At Buena Vista Virtual Academy, Buena Vista, they celebrated its third annual open house STEAM night on Thursday, April 24th. Students, parents, grandparents, siblings, and friends learned about various reptiles, amphibians, and insects, practiced coding with sparrows and autobots, troubleshooted aerodynamics with rocket launchers, and created pitch bots and other steering crafts. The night was a fun celebration of all that Buena Vista students have accomplished throughout the year. At El Camino Real High School, El Camino students recently had the opportunity to tour the Fullerton College campus. They participated in career interest inventory, explored some of the career options they are matched with, and delved into the majors related to those careers. Students observed different CTE classrooms, spoke to the professors, and asked questions regarding the program. They walked through the student library to see more resources that it offers. The Raptors also experienced Career Day. ECR had speakers from all military branches, marketing directors, real estate agents, investors, plumbers, and animation designers that students could interact with throughout these positions. At El Dorado High School, it's Teacher Appreciation Week throughout our district. At Elda, there is nothing more important than the relationships their staff have built at the El Dorado community. The Golden Hawks want to recognize their teachers who have been at Elda for decades, including Mrs. Craze, Mrs. Oberly, Ms. Anderson, and more. They also want to thank their newest teachers in the nest, like Mr. Merrill, Senior Schmeek, and Mr. Thomas. The Golden Hawk community is honored to work side by side with the likes of Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Liu, Ms. Clemmer, and so many other amazing and talented teachers. They wish they could list them all. From El Dorado to all teachers in PYLUSD, thank you for all that you do every day, every year, and everywhere. At Esperanza High School, their top jazz ensemble placed second at the California Jazz Championships in Folsom and will hold their final concert with guest artist Marcus Pinto on May 23rd in their theater. The EHS prom rally will be on Friday, May 17th, with the dance on Saturday, May 18th at 7 p.m. at the Diamond Bar Center. In George Key Adventure Academy, George Key recently enjoyed a marionette show of The Wizard of Oz completed through the Circus Room Center for the Performing Arts. George Key would like to thank their PSSO who funded this activity for students. Venture Academy is currently selling tickets for their spring dance on the red carpet, which will be held on May 24th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Lakeview Multipurpose Room. Tickets are currently $20 and are available through the Venture office. Adult transition students from Venture and George Key and the Maryland District are invited. At Parkview School, Panthers celebrated their teachers and staff with a luncheon on May 6th, honoring the work they do on campus each and every day. Additionally, The school has a treat station set up in the office to recognize and thank their dedicated parent volunteers for the next few weeks. The Universal Sports Institute at Parkview Schools Advisory Board reviewed applications this week and approved its first round of students. Parkview and the Universal Sports Institute are excited to welcome new students from families next school year. At Valencia High School, Valencia was revalidated as an avid national demonstration school, reflecting their school-wide commitment to engaging in effective instructional practices and their belief that they can reach every single tiger on their campus. The Tigers look forward to hosting upcoming events such as the Power Show, Senior Night, Athletic Signing Day, Memorial Day Ceremony, and welcome PYLUSD High Schools at the Valencia Film as Art Festival. Finally, at Yorba High School, Yorba High School's annual stakeholder survey was recently completed, and the Mustangs are proud to share that 97% of staff, parents, and students reported that students feel connected at school. 7 Mustang track and field athletes have qualified for the CIF finals, which will be held on Saturday, and AP testing is currently underway with approximately 600 students taking an AP exam. Last week, YLHS hosted Get Ready for Testing Spirit Week to encourage students to do their best on AP and state testing. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Emily. And another question for you. What has been the most memorable academic experience of the Placentia Yorba Unified School District, and why?
I think that the most memorable academic experience that I've had the opportunity to have so far is AP. I know a lot of my fellow students might not agree with that. It's an extremely rigorous course. It's certainly something that puts your values to the test. But it taught me the value of determination and hard work, and how when it all comes together, it leads to a remarkable reward. I remember walking out of the AP test and just thinking that all of my hard work for the past 6-7 months had come down to that moment, and I felt good leaving that room. So,
All right, next we'll do our superintendent's report. Dr. Turnus, please.
All right. I was distracted by that sign in the back there. It's a nice one, thank you. So tonight I'm going to talk a lot about some exciting new programs we have. And specifically, I'm going to talk about the Universal Sports Institute. Couldn't be more excited for it. I'm going to give an update on where we are with this program. Okay. Yeah, I think it's on now. Okay, maybe turn it up a little bit. And I'm going to also address some misinformation out there because this is my opportunity to do so. So what is this program? Well, first of all, we have an incredible advisory board. We have all 4 of our comprehensive high school athletic directors on our advisory board. We also have principals on our advisory board. We have coaches on our advisory board. And this is all on our website. And so we are relying on some of the best and brightest to give us the best information. This program, a lot like our Orange County School of Computer Science, is why I'm convinced people are coming back to our district. And I know every meeting I talk about enrollment, but that is critically important. To date, we are now 500 more students over where we were last year this time. I'm going to talk about that in a moment too. It's okay to clap for things that are good for kids. We have started to put pieces together for the Universal Sports Institute. One of the most important pieces we put together, I think personally, is the integration of this new pathway to support our students with disabilities. And so we're working with a company that has already worked with quite a few of our students. It's called BC Adaptive Fitness, and we hope to bring them to our board for a contract in the near future to offer fitness type programs for our students in our district with special needs. Kids will be coming over, our life skill kids from our comprehensive high schools will be coming over for classes. physical fitness for many, many students with disabilities is critically important. They have a higher percentage of obesity, diabetes, and so what we need to do while we have them is develop lifelong exercise skills for them. And so I couldn't be more excited about this program. So just some brief updates, and we'll keep bringing these updates to the board and to the community. We started April 1st. We already have 60 applicants, and I will tell you, these kids are incredible. We have about 20% of our kids are in district. Out of district, about 80% are in district. These kids, we have aspiring Olympic ice skaters. We have great kids that play baseball and soccer and basketball, dance. And so what we're doing is we're starting to meet with a lot of different coaches and bringing them on board so these kids can get the specialization that they want while enrolled in Parkview. And so we've changed our focus a little bit, and so we are flexible. We've shifted from an elite to more dedicated, purposeful, committed kid. And so, you know, elite has this connotation that we only want Olympians, and that's truly not it. We're going to serve kids in this program from 8 to 3, but we're also going to serve our students in our comprehensive high schools after that. And so we're already talking about ways to do that. Classes, fitness type classes, kids can sign up, middle school kids can go on Tuesday and Thursday after school and sign up for a agility class. And we can take the first 50 kids that sign up, and they're in this class for, you know, a period or a term. And again, this is a free program. We are going to fund this from the enrollment that we have, and that's our intention, is for this to be a cost neutral program. But I'm going to get to that in a little bit because that's come up in budget and transparency. So I'm going to talk about that. But we're going to staff it with coaches, certificated sections. We have some teachers that were overstaffed in PE, for example, but they have a weightlifting certification. They'll come over during the day and do weightlifting. We have a basketball coach. That's our assistant coach of El Dorado. He's been with us 10 years. He's a walk-on coach. He doesn't work during the day. And so he's going to come over and work with the kids and then walk over to the field, Tomlin sort of field house, get some basketball instruction. There's an entire park with an empty baseball field during the day. We're going to have kids playing baseball, go over to the park, and you know, they get to use that, and we're going to have batting cages and whatnot. So a lot of aspirations. We have some really talented people putting this forward. If you haven't heard, Fullerton district has now opened theirs, and they're competing with us. You're going to see more and more. There was more before. There's going to be more after. But we're on the cutting edge, and just seeing the kids coming from Orange, from Rancho Santiago. We had a kid apply from Missouri. It's a really cool thing, and it's the specialization that makes us. It's going to make us different and exemplary. Now, I do want to speak to the issue of, and I learned this from a colleague of mine. She sent me this concept called reactive devaluation, and it's a cognitive bias that occurs when an individual assigns less value or credibility to a proposal simply because it comes from an opposing party. The bias can compromise decision making, and it hurts our kids. I added that to the definition because it does. These kind of programs, if it's good for kids, we're all allowed to clap for it. It doesn't have to be a bipolar, political, divisive thing. This is a great program for kids. We have kids that can't afford going to a trainer. They're going to be able to come see a certified trainer and get support. We have kids that can't access some of the high-level equipment that we're going to purchase using a very specialized funding, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So I want to talk about transparency. I'm going to go over that. I'm going to talk about how we communicate, how we've been communicating this program, and how the district in the past has communicated the new program. I'm going to talk about the budget because I hear that a lot. Do we have money for it? How should we evaluate this? That's important. And I'm gonna talk about those funding sources. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for the support. There's been so many people reaching out. Hey, Dr. Turners, thank you so much. We're so excited. Ignore those people that are, making videos about you or online saying stuff about you. And the reality is, it doesn't bother me, but I can't ignore it. I have to speak to the facts and the truth. And this is my opportunity to do it. So when I am challenged, when either my integrity is challenged up here by people casting aspersions or saying that we're not being transparent, this is my opportunity to address that. So then maybe someday my kids are watching and they can see the truth. So let's talk about budget transparency. Does the board know what funds the district has? Simple question. I was the CFO of the county office, largest county office in the nation. My budget was $14.5 billion. I oversaw the budgets of 80 school districts. My question when I went out to districts was always, does the board know what funds you have? It's a simple question. But what's been happening here in the past, it hasn't been a simple answer. It's been hidden. And does the community know what funds the district has? So I know talk is cheap, so I want to go over a few things. So you can access all the district budgets on our website. You can see a PDF of all the financial reports and see these little snapshots at the top. Those are all budget presentations. And before I got here, they were all labeled all funds budget presentations. All funds. The district has many different funding sources. One is the general fund. That's called Fund 1. That's what we pay teachers for. 80% of what a district pays out is salaries and benefits. People and benefits. That's Fund 1. There are several other funds that every district until I got here presents to their school board and reviews in presentations so that the community can see it and so the board can see it. That was not happening here. None of these, quote, all funds budget presentations included all funds. When I got here with Mr. Stein, we presented the first all funds budget presentation to the board and the community in at least the last 5 years. This one slide represents over $40 million of funds that was never presented to this community in any, quote, all funds budget presentation.
Wow.
So developer fees, that's part of Fund 25. Cafeteria fund, $13 million of ending fund balance. Child development fund, $11 million. Self-insurance, $16 million. None of these were presented to the community or the board until I got here. So to say we're not being transparent with our budgets, this is proof we're being more transparent than we ever have been. So let's talk about communication. Communication with USI. How have we communicated USI? Well, we've done it at board meetings. We've sent out Monday messages. We've done principal announcements and emails. We've sent texts to 40,000 families. We've sent emails. We're on the radio. We're on billboards. And we have paper handouts. The amount of communication we're doing about this program is more transparent than any new program that's ever been developed here. And I stand by that. And I want to give you an example of the last time this district approved a new school. August 11, 2020, the Buena Vista Virtual Academy. This is a case study in what not to do. In my 25 years in education, public education, the Buena Vista Virtual Academy is a school. We have about 150 students. They're located at the location of USI. In my 25 years in public education, I have never seen a new school approved by a school board on consent until I got here. This virtual school, we didn't have a study session. I've heard from Marilyn Anderson. I want to have a study session on the budget for USI. Okay. Where was the study session for BVBA? No study session, no budget presentation, no RFP. So I found this because another thing since we got here, it's very easy to access the documents on our board agenda. If you go back to archives 2023 and prior, it's like playing Sudoku. Yeah, you cannot find anything. It's all PDFs, 600-page PDFs with no attachments to link to. So I found this document. This is Superintendent, I don't know him, Gary Plutko. Greg Plutko.
Plutko.
Okay, Greg Plutko. So on August 11, 2020, Buena Vista Virtual Academy was established by this school board, a new school, mind you, a new program, expanding, changing the name, of course, from the La Entrada. I'm gonna need my notes in a minute. So this program and this is the best part, funding for the new school, no cost to the district. Was there a study session when Buena Vista Virtual Academy was established? Nope. Was there a budget presented? Nope. There's 150 kids in this program. Give me one moment. So we have 150 kids in the program, no budget, no study session. And I've heard from the board here, I've heard from Marilyn Anderson, I'm not gonna approve $1 for USI until I see a budget. Where was the budget when this came on board? Are we losing money with Buena Vista Virtual Academy? That's the other thing I've heard. I've heard from a lot of people. Well, we don't wanna lose money. We don't want to lose money. We want to see a budget, so we don't want to lose money. Uh-oh, Buena Vista Virtual Academy, we're losing $1.1 million a year on this program. So, let me rewind. We approve a new school, we, the board, approves a new school on consent with no budget, no study session. The staff states that there's no cost to the district, which is absolutely absurd. And we as a district are losing $1.1 million a year on this program. The same program that I am proposing, we repurpose this facility for something that actually is exciting, can potentially make money, bring kids into the school district. So I'm going back to this reactive devaluation because I am convinced that if this program was presented 2 years ago and it was Plutko or Matthews or El Sasser, it could have gone on consent. But it's not. So here we are today. We have a program where we're losing $1.1 million. These are the facts. Now, given that, am I saying we should close this school? Absolutely not. Why? Because I don't think we're in the business of making money. And the fact that we spend an extra $1.1 million and take a loss on this program doesn't mean it's a bad thing. We need to invest in kids, and kids have different needs. Some of our kids like virtual education. Does it cost more? Yes. But that's okay. I'm not saying we close it, I'm saying, why aren't we looking at it? And why, 3 years ago, did we approve a specialized school? And today, all of a sudden, people are saying, hey, we gotta see the budget for this. I find that ironic. Here's some other specialized programs we have. El Camino. Very important program, specialized for kids. We lose $2.2 million a year. Are we saying we should close it? No. But I'm here saying this is information we should have. This is information the board has never looked at before. And before we say, hey, we don't want to start USI unless it's a positive, profitable endeavor, then why are we operating programs like this that aren't positive, profitable endeavors? And I hope USI will be. But I think it's a great example here. So let's talk about developer fees. That's our funding source, developer fees. Remember that budget I showed you that the board, the community was never shown before? We get developer fees. We have a legal opinion on developer fees that this whole board got, saying that USI is an exciting opportunity for the district to provide its athletes with the most cutting-edge technologies. The district may use its impact fees, which are developer fees, to construct the training facility. The board has this, but I've heard people in the community say, oh, well, you can't use developer fees. This attorney is the foremost expert on developer fees in the state of California. And this whole board, a month ago or so, got this letter saying it's legal, it's permitted, and it's actually the appropriate expense for it. Here's our developer fee revenues. We got it. Revenues for developer fees. Let me talk about how do you get developer fees. When families do development, you write a check, it goes to the city. A portion of it's called a developer fee, it goes to the school district. When big developments go up, apartments go up, that money goes to the school district in the form of a developer fee. We collect that. It's ongoing revenue. So the fact that we're using developer fees, first of all, is appropriate. We've already been shown that. We're also, this is a revenue stream we're gonna get every year. This is not new one-time money. This is ongoing money. Now, the degree to which we get depends on the amount of development in the community. This is something the board should have been aware of. I found it offensive when Marilyn Anderson passed out a packet to educate us on developer fees, when she's been spending developer fees on the board and approving it. In fact, in 2021, when she was on the school board, she spent $1.266 million in developer fees on a specialized program in Glenview. Unfortunately, I doubt Ms. Anderson knew that, nor did the board, because the district never disclosed it. What you have here are purchase orders for technology equipment, for portables, using developer fees for Glenview's dual language academy. Now, what happened in the past is the business office said, and by the way, this entire cabinet here is new, so I'm not casting any aspersions on any of you. We're cleaning things up, but what happened in the past is the business office would just say, let's use developer fees for it. It goes on a purchase order report, goes to the board, under developer fees. This district spent $1.26 on developer fees on Glenview. There was never a study session on developer fees that was requested this year for USI. It was just expensed. So rather than just charging USI to developer fees, we've disclosed. Here's what they are. Here's how much we have. Here's our revenue stream. And here's the acceptable use, and here's the legal opinion to be able to purchase them. That's transparency. What you see here, and I know you can barely see it, that's not transparent. School district should not, if I was the CFO at the county, I would say, whoa. School district should not be spending $1.26 million on developer fees without being very clear to the school board and the community That's what we're spending money on. I found $43,000 for developer fees for an architect. That's all I found in 2021. The rest of the 1.26 million spent, it would be on an attachment under purchase orders with a 20 number line stream, and you'd have to be able to figure out that that whole stream is applied to developer fees. So you've been spending developer fees, and you didn't even know it. So to summarize, we're taking a facility which has been running a program at a loss, and we're reinvigorating it with innovation and excitement. Those who support this program, those who support our computer science school, those who support individualized specialization for kids, that's your legacy. Those who engage in misinformation, those who oppose our innovative programs, that's equally yours. Now on a positive note, if that wasn't positive, I kind of thought it was positive. It's Mother's Day this weekend. Let's give a hand for all of our mothers out there. Okay, and this is why I have to do this. In 1967, then 23-year-old Diane Roseman, soon to be Diane Chernus, along with her black roommate, Angela Pickett, dressed up in their Sunday best, as everyone did, and attended the Second Baptist Church, located in Watts. Now, just a few years prior, in 1965, the Watts riots had occurred. Now, to me, and I know my mom would probably disagree, but to me, that's courageous for a 22-year-old kid, a white UCLA grad, young Jewish girl, to go with her black friend to Watts to a church. The speaker that day was Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. King spoke at the Second Baptist Church on several occasions. The Second Baptist Church was established in 1885. It was the first black church in Los Angeles County. So my mom heard the gospel, the choir sing. She listened to Dr. King talk about nonviolence, justice for all, and a future for Black Americans. So Mom, I know you often tell me you're proud of me, and I've never told you I'm proud of you. But your attendance at this church in Watts was an impactful way of you speaking out against injustice. It taught me a lot. It was courageous in the face of adversity, so I am proud of you. Happy Mother's Day.
All right, we are now in our public comment session. Public comment is an opportunity for the public to provide input to the Board of Education. During the public comment period, board members do not dialogue with speakers or make comments regarding the information shared. We have 16 people wishing to speak tonight, and so each speaker will have 1 minute and 30 seconds each. As the speakers come forward, I'm going to ask that you give us your name and then you repeat your name as you come to speak. And I'm going to call the first two speakers and I'll have to sit in the front row. And then is our speaker number 1? Pete Lawrence Razauer, Susan White, and Steve Stopka. First is Ed Head.
gentlemen, how are you tonight? I first want to say teachers good, union bad.
All right, come on. That's not acceptable.
Why do unions hate? They hate what they can't control. Excelling kids past them with district-run charters. If the union was involved, they would dumb down the system. Do not let them be involved. I have a sign on my back. Chernus for governor. If our state was run like Chernus runs this district, people would be fighting to come here instead of fleeing. Why are they leaving? Because this state is controlled by unions, and unions suck. No out-of-the-box thinking by unions. Shh. All they want to do is stand in our children's way. Why were our schools shut down during COVID for so long? Teachers union. That is why. I was in a union once, Local 324, for 6 years. All I did was watch it dumb people down, lower their effort and output, and kill their innovativeness. If a union is backing you, like Marilyn Anderson, here, I hope that you get defeated this coming year, in November. Once upon a time, she told me she was a conservative, and I donated $500 to her campaign. The worst money I ever spent in my entire life. Thank you.
I have a number of questions and concerns regarding the universal school system. Since the RFP for the USI is not on tonight's agenda, barring a special meeting, the earliest the award of any contract can come before the board is June. If it is approved, doesn't the project then have to go before the California Department of State Architects for permits and approvals? Given how long it takes to get an approval, just look how long it took to get the Lightsville Dorado approved. How on earth are we announcing an August open date? Despite my objection to this project based on philosophical grounds, excuse me, and the lack of transparency, I believe, yes, there is a lot of transparency, and I will address that in a moment. Aren't we also promising now a project we can't possibly deliver by August? Are you under the belief that this project does not need to be approved by the state? What about permits or anything beyond demolition work? Please, the committee wants answers to these very basic questions. Don't worry about it, trust me, and it's only coming from developer fees, which were already allocated, are wholly inadequate responses. Developer fees are part of our limited budget, and our desire to trust and verify is not a personal attack. Isn't transparency the principle behind the open meeting policy? Simply because there were no study sessions or budgets and projects that came before us, does that make it okay now? If it was wrong then, as you asserted, why is it wrong to do it now? Let's do this right. Pull the reins, stop putting the cart before the horse.
I'm Susan White here tonight on behalf of my Yorba Linda High School parent who wasn't able to attend, and I'll read her statement. My name is Angela Eilers. I'm unfortunately unable to attend because I'm at a PTSA committee meeting, but did not want to let this opportunity to go by without pointing out that the district has shared several times on every social media platform, as well as in an email from my children's school, about the U.S. News and World Report rankings. It was stated that 40% of the ranking criteria was based on student AP class involvement and test scores. The high schools received high marks partly on the backs of our AP students currently taking tests this week. They have received no support at the district level after imploring you to start the school year sooner and giving them more time to learn the content. Instead, their teachers have donated their time on weekends, early mornings, lunch breaks, and evenings to help their students prepare and learn all the critical information on time. I'd like to give a shout out to my kids' AP teachers who have gone above and beyond for their students. Mr. Hipwell, Mr. Walls, Mr. Bouchon, Ms. Ferris, and Ms. Nunez. They are the best of the best in the district. This fall, when you tout the AP scores, be sure to thank all the teachers who got our students over the finish line. Thank you.
Chief Safka, and the comments I'm making tonight are my own. They're not being made on behalf of any anonymous sources, real or fictitious. First, I want to commend you, Dr. Chernis, and this board for the amazing job you've done navigating us safely through all of the chaos and layoffs that have plagued most of the surrounding districts this year. Secondly, to combine multiple benefits of the addition of district-run charters of the CSCS and Universal Sports Institute, coupled with the partnership with the Dixon Foundation, are prime examples of projects that will strengthen our ability to stabilize and grow our student population, as well as significantly enhance the strong and robust academic environment that already exists in this district. Finally, a personal observation. Shortly after 2000, I served as a member of the district steering committee tasked with getting community approval for the bonds that provided funding for the construction of Yorba Linda High School. Along with that came an increase in property taxes. If there's ever been an issue where there was more controversy or wider polar positions in my time, I can't think of one. Yet I don't ever recall the degradation of decorum and respect that's been demonstrated in recent meetings here. The snide comments, innuendo, and anonymous offerings, along with resulting high partisan outbursts, is behavior I think few of us would want our kids to emulate in the classroom. Robust discussion can be done with respect and integrity, and I call on everyone who attends these meetings to conduct themselves accordingly. Anyone witnessing recent meetings would be hard-pressed to see Yorba Linda as a land of gracious living. Thank you.
Tim Murray, and Nellie Raphael.
Our school district receives tax dollars to administer programs. Therefore, it is a local government office with 5 elected school board members. I am a part of the Superintendent Elementary School Advisory Committee, and on April 23rd, I was kicked off the Zoom meeting after half an hour. When attempting to rejoin, the pop-up window gave me the reason. And I have a screenshot of it. It states, quotes, "The host removed you from the meeting. Retaliation is a bad luck." My triggering chat comment was the following: PYLUSD will not get $18.5 million from the state of California for the next school year. So why spend on non-urgent programs in 2024-25? The community did not ask for the Sports Institute, and $3 million will be spent by June 2024. Then I was kicked off the Zoom by the host. The cuts are coming, and the superintendent is on a shopping spree with extremist board members. We must object and speak up. Thank you, Mrs. Gray, for answering the question about mental health counselors. She confirmed that only Title I schools will have mental health counselors in the next school year, which means that if you're not a Title I school, you are losing your mental health counselors.
Thank you.
Tonight I want to respond to the numerous social media posts stating that Apple is putting out misinformation and misleading the community. As the official spokesperson for the association, I can certify that this is simply not true because I have not posted anything on social media on any topic. My time has been spent supporting our students, teachers, and community through Apple events directed by the Apple Executive Board. To name a few, over the years, Apple has donated $60,000 in college scholarships for high school seniors, holiday gifts, food, and clothing to over 1,000 homeless students and their families, $2,500 to the Reach Foundation in support of the Shamrock Run Middle School track meet and the district artworks exhibit, $5,000 to the Gear Up program, $1,600 to support this year's Unity Dance at Yorba Linda Middle School, and we were happy for a shout out from Dr. Chernis. $500 for high schools to support graduation activities for seniors. We hosted the annual Bunny Bash where young children enjoyed face painting, cookie decorating, coloring pizza, and a picture with the Benjamin Bunny provided by our high school volunteers. In addition, I'm excited to donate an additional $1,662 that we received for our recent participation in the Anaheim Ducks Educator Night.
Once again, this will be earmarked to support the district unified dance.
Thank you.
The message is clear. When Apple is dancing, make it dance.
We're supposed to say something.
Civility. Civility.
All right. Dr. Turnus, you reached out to me via email on April 24th. You said that I seem to have some interest in making USI successful for this district. I do. You also asked me, is there anything or any thoughts that I might have on USI? My response included 2 suggestions, and one was simply to share a rough budget with the community to help to build more trust. I really believe that that would help. For a moment, I thought you were going to share that tonight with the community, but instead, you chose to lecture stakeholders that you were hired to represent. I don't know why it's something you can't share with us. I just don't get it. Your response with regard to fiscal transparency on the project, you told me in an email, and I can show it to people if they want to see it, that's a perceived issue. Perception is reality. The community is still waiting for a USI budget. If we get a budget, we can support you. This is not political for me. I am a coach. I am a former teacher. My kids are athletes. I want this to work. There was a similar pattern with the Orange County Computer Science Charter when $1 million was later found for a computer lab. This is what I mean when I say transparency. Was that initially in the budget? Was it ever put out to the community in advance?
Thank you, Tim.
No problem. I just wish there wasn't such a transparency.
Hello, my name is Nellie Raphael. As we celebrate Teacher Appreciation Week, I want to thank our wonderful teachers in our district who go above and beyond to put our children first in all that you do. You are greatly appreciated. I also want to take this moment and highlight a few of many incredible achievements this far from our wonderful school district. The latest news about our district announcing a civics internship opportunity at the Nixon Library is astonishing. Dr. Chernis creating a stronger relationship between the Nixon Foundation and the school district is admirable. Thank you for giving our kids this opportunity. We also have the Universal Sports Institute, which is a new educational sports performance program here in our district. USI will host a free customizable athletic and academic development experience for our student athletes in grades 3 to 12. I know many parents have a lot of questions about this program. However, I'm confident this board will provide the community updates as they enter each phase of this project. They have been so transparent with answering emails and questions from concerned community members on many topics so far. In the community, many parents and educators are noting many positive remarks about USI, but also some community members are spreading negativity because some people don't like the idea of change because they fear the unknown. So I leave you all with this tonight. Change is not something that we should fear, rather it is something that we should welcome. For without change, nothing in this world would ever grow or blossom, and no one in this world would ever move forward to become the person they're meant to be. Thank you, Dr. Chernis and our board majority for all that you do in putting our children first.
Shanny Murray, Randy Finney, and John Quackenbush.
Dr. Chernis, President Blake, and members of the board. My name is John Hanson. I'm a 48-year resident of Yorba Lincoln. At a recent board meeting that I attended, many speakers attacked our grassroots conservative board majority while also singing the praises of Carrie Buck. Let's take a look at Carrie Buck and Measure A bonds that she, along with other pro-union, union-backed board members, issued back in 2011. That board borrowed $22 million that will cost our school district $282 million in debt payments. That is 12 times the funds that we received. As a sane, rational person, would any of you buy a car for $20,000? That would require over $250,000 in payments. The day the Measure A bonds were issued, the average municipal bond interest rate was 5.25%. Yet Buck authorized a rate of 7.8%. These bonds cannot be renegotiated, refinanced, or paid off early. Interest continues to compound and accrue for 31 years. Then, in 2042, we can finally start paying off this debt. By then, Carrie Buck and all of her friends will be long gone. A simple Google search will lead you to LA Times and Orange County Register articles that document this topic. I'll end with this. What they have done to this district and taxpayers is both unforgivable and outrageous, and it's no wonder Buck remains here.
A beloved sixth grade teacher at Golden Elementary pointed out last month, teachers are the heart and soul of this district. PYL educators first started nurturing my kids at Wagner School, fostering a love of learning and showing them how to celebrate our differences. Mrs. Rago then expertly guided each through the transition to elementary school, where they spent the next 7 years learning to read and write and explore, enjoying everything from gardening to science night to earning a graduate degree from Golden Eagle University. They were then challenged in new ways by the amazing teachers at Tucker Middle School, who helped them navigate the early teen years and ensured they were well prepared for the rigors of high school. At El Dorado, teachers that pushed them academically, providing new perspectives and encouraging critical thinking skills. My daughter is thriving in college thanks to the solid foundation she received here in PYL, and as my son gets ready to enter his senior year, I am full of gratitude for the amazing teachers we have here in PYL. And I will just at the same time, since I have an extra 20 seconds, thank Apple, since most of the teachers are in Apple. Thank you.
Okay, so I wanted to just think when we're talking a lot about budget, and I just wanted maybe, if we want to, it might be too late now, but to reconsider full day transitional kindergarten. I looked a lot of this up on the cde.ca.gov to make sure that we were in line with what they're asking. Since kindergarten and transitional kindergarten are still not required, California requires 180 minutes a day, not including recess. And when originally the extended day kinder was supposed to be for more playtime, and it wound up, we wound up having to do more curriculum, and it wound up costing a lot more money because we didn't, I don't know, think about, maybe you guys did, just about the release time for the teachers that they had to have. The students had to have PE, so we needed more PE teachers. We needed lunch. We needed people to cover for lunch. So we're looking at like lots of costs, and that's going to be the same thing with transitional kindergarten too. And so that's what my concern. Also, because the ratio.
Okay, thank you. Sorry,
I will. Thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent, board members. My name is John Quackenbush. Several things. One, I'll just start off with last year there was an Access and Inclusion Committee that had been around for at least 2 years. I thought it had great ideas. I was on it. I would love for the board and the admin to think about reinstating that with community members, teachers, admin officials. There were some very positive things that came out of it that would help work with disabilities and non-disabilities, bringing them together and those underserved. Also, one of the things I think we forget about that we look at in these things is the average kid we're talking elite sports person, we're talking computer science, we're talking AP, those are all great and those are all needed. But we also need to serve the middle, our average student, which is a bigger base, and make sure we're giving them things. Also on bias, I'm sure many of you know I get up here, I probably speak against what a lot of you feel and believe is right, but we're all coming from the same spot, but we gotta remember that just because somebody's speaking something different, that it's not necessarily yours, it may not be that bias against the item, but for them. We should continue the community involvement and the transparency.
Our next speakers are Linda Kelly, Maria Lapisa Stubbs, Joan Herrick, and Lucy Curran.
I want to make sure everyone hears me. I taught for 32 years in public schools, was an active newspaper member to NEA, CTA, and my local union. The union of 2024 is completely unrecognizable to me. 92% of Placentia Belinda teachers belong to Apple. Over 60% of their dues go directly to CTA. Are you aware of the mission shift in CTA? A mission shift funded by those teacher dues and supported and embraced by some school boards. I do not support this mission shift. I want to give you only one of many examples of the new CTA I do not recognize. June 2019 marked the adoption of CTA proposal 619-12. This proposal, which I tracked through CTA, argued that minors identifying as transgender had a civil right to receive access to sensitive services, and I quote here, without the barrier of parental permission. CTA also advocated for comprehensive school-based clinics to provide confidential access to services. They declared that trans children have a civil right to gender services and should not be forced to go through puberty in the wrong body. This CTA policy has turned into legislation like AB 2084, AB 665. I insist that school board position on these policies. We deserve to know.
Good evening, everyone. Maria Lupita Stubbs, Dr. Chernis, Executive Cabinet and staff, board members, President Bates. I would like to congratulate you and the staff responsible for putting together the LCAP Community Forum back in March, which I attended. It was explained to me that this is the first year this particular format is used for this specific purpose and offered to the entire community. To be honest, I was expecting a slideshow presentation, and I was pleasantly surprised with how dynamic and interactive the workshop was. The groups were rotating from station to station, and we were able to offer input and ideas, which the staff was quick to write down and even start quick discussion. One idea from my group was to have the same type of targeted interventions that we currently have for math, but to have it also for English, reading and writing. I am pleased to see in Dr. Chernis's Monday report, just a couple days ago, that the kids will receive reading intervention in the new school year. That's awesome. May I suggest targeted intervention also in Spanish for our DLA kiddos who are a little bit behind. Their Spanish is not easy doing school in another language. I can attest to that. So anyway, also, I'm not sure about if the summer enrichment program will take place this year. I just want to say it was so well received. The kids had the best experience. I do understand some funds may be a one-time thing, and there are various types of funds, such as what you were explaining, Dr. Chernis. So all I'm saying is that if there are applicable funds, it's awesome. Thank you so much.
This is Joan Herrick. Last month I visited the Buena Vista Virtual Academy campus. I met some of the most dedicated, caring, committed teachers and staff there. I observed a classroom of autistic and special needs students. Their teacher provided structure and flexibility to meet their needs. They feel secure and safe in a space that is familiar to them, and they thrive. But change is hard and disruptive. Some students are facing personal and family challenges. When I stopped by the campus yesterday morning, I saw empty shelves and cabinets and furniture labeled for a move. I learned that all of the students, teachers, and staff will move out of the building this Friday, May 10th, in just 3 days. Why would you do this with barely 5 weeks left of school? They will go to temporary spaces, not their final homes. Some at Parkview, some in office space just up the street. Siblings might be separated. Principal and secretary will be at different locations. As of yesterday morning, when I was there, no letter from the district had even been sent to parents to inform them of the move. You say you're here for the students, but not for these most vulnerable children. Do you see the cruel irony of teachers packing for a move during Teacher Appreciation Week? Mr. Attorney, surely the demolition and construction of the Sports Institute can wait until school is out. Choose to be kind. Let them stay and celebrate the end of the year as a school community.
Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Churnis and board. Nice to be here. My 3 children are all PYLUSD alumni from K through 12. I taught in the district for 15 years, and my husband taught and coached for over 40 years. So I'm well acquainted with sports in our district. The cost is the major concern to me. I went on your website today. I'm also concerned with the advisory board as it was today. There's 11 people that were members, 1 administrator with no athletic experience, okay? And there were 10 members, 3 of whom have extensive wrestling experience. This seems like not equitable to have 30% of the staff devoted to wrestling. I do applaud the fact that there's going to be services for special ed students. That seems amazing. And I also applaud the fact that you decided to not make this an elite school for elite athletes. As we all know, 2% of high school athletes go on to play Division I sports. Only 8% of high school athletes play in college at all, and rarely are there any who are on the Olympic level. So I do appreciate the fact that you've rethought this. But we all know the cost of things is outrageous, and I would really like to see a budget before this goes.
Thank you. All right, thank you to all the speakers. We're now moving to the consent calendar. Does anybody have any items that need to be pulled?
I have a few items.
Give myself more room.
Okay, I have 5. So the first one is 17.3, 17.12, 17.16, 17.22, and 18.1.
Okay, I would like to pull 17.20, 17.3, 17, oh wait. Oh, you said 3 and 22. So I am pulling.
Mic on?
Yes, my mic is on. 17.20 and 20.7.
So 17.20 and 20.7? Todd, do you have anything you need pulled?
No, ma'am.
Can we scroll up? Can we scroll up to the high school graduation requirement one? I think it's like one of the first ones. 18.1. Oh, it's pulled. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I need a motion to approve the following listed recommendations, minus the ones that have been pulled.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent calendar, minus the ones that have been pulled.
I have a motion by Mrs. Anderson, I have a second by Mr. Youngblood. Roll call vote, please. Emily? Mrs. Buck? Aye. Mrs. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Youngblood?
Aye.
Mr. Frazier?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Motion carries 5-0 with an aye from our student board member. Okay, so 17.3.
And that was mine, so I'll start with that. Make a motion to approve 17.3, accept as complete the project listed and authorized filing notices of completion.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Buck, a second by Mrs. Anderson.
I just had a couple of questions. One, related to, it's the new Dimension Nutrition Services Conference Room. Can you tell me where that's located, what's it gonna be used for?
Sure, it's located at the, I guess we call it Casa Loma, so we have our nutrition services staff there. They needed a new conference room, so they basically built into the storage area that's, within that building. So if you go visit, it'll be attached to the offices.
Okay, thank you. And then the second one is for the Bernardo Yoga Middle School demo and repair of 2 classrooms. Was this project related to the Innovation Lab?
Yes.
Do we have a cost of that?
Don't have it with me, but that's one of the first stores for the Dimension that has gone, that's in our list of first stores previously. Under that, PO numbers listed there on the left, so I can pull it for you.
Have we been given any information on an innovation lab that's going on? I don't recall reading it.
I have not received any information.
Was the Innovation Lab, was that the $1 million block grant for the innovation and technology that we voted on in September?
The innovation lab wasn't in the September budget.
So, Mr. Stein, there are purchase orders you're referring to for equipment going to the innovation lab.
Yes.
Okay. Are those on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Last time as well.
Okay, so the board approved them the last meeting? Or on this meeting? And so the board's welcome to pull these items if you have questions about them.
Well, that's why I pulled it, because at the last board meeting, I became aware of the innovation lab that I didn't know about before, and so I didn't know that that was a purchase that was happening. So the demo repair had already been happening. 17.3.
Yes. Yes, demo repair is happening. We're getting the labs ready for the school year.
When are we gonna find out about the innovation lab? Because at the last meeting.
I don't know what you mean by find out about it. You've already approved equipment and there's equipment on
I
this
didn't know
agenda.
that we were putting in an innovation lab.
I would be happy to have Dr. Fisher provide information on what the lab will look like. But the board has the information and you can vote to approve it or not.
My understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, but the Innovation Lab, last month that we approved for that was just the consultant fee to design it for $150,000. Is that correct?
That was part of the project, yes.
And then in that meeting also, there was a $90,000 construction as well for the, correct?
Yes.
So we just approved it last month, the $90,000 was already completed in 1 month?
Actually, yes. So this one's been it's yes, because it's re-outfitting the current classroom, so there wasn't, it's basically tearing out some items and removing all the floor, so yes.
Yeah, it's not major construction, right? This is just basically a light remodeling TI.
Yes. Correct.
I am not going to be voting for this item because the innovation lab is not something that was included in the September budget, and I haven't gotten an updated budget list from the Arts and Music grant. And originally that line item wasn't in there. It's in there now, and it's taken money away from other items that we originally had in that September 23 budget. So I'm voting no.
Okay, are we ready for the vote?
Just a second. I'm also voting no. I voted no for the construction last month of the 90,000, so I'll just continue voting no.
So we are ready to vote.
It's gonna be a great lab. We invite you all to come see it when it's done.
Okay, so we're on 17.3. Roll call vote, please. Emily?
Aye.
Mrs. Buck?
No.
Mrs. Anderson?
No.
Mr. Youngblood?
Absolutely.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes, please.
And I am a yes, please. Motion carries 3-2, and an aye from our student board member. All right, next, 17.4.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the use of DGS contract number 4-06-78-0031A for the purchase and warranty removal, disposal, installation, maintenance, and repair of synthetic turf, athletic track surfaces, tennis courts, sport flooring, and playground services with Field Turf USA, Inc. for the Universal Sports Institute.
Second.
I have a motion from Mrs. Buck and a second by Mr. Youngblood.
I had a question related to the USI, and does the USI require any testing and inspection services for installation of any of the equipment and the remodel of the PDA?
I mean, we're talking about testing from
Does the DSA have any,
DSA, no, so
they don't have
DSA
to look at any of the items related to?
No, there's no structural alterations to the building. Therefore, DSA does not need approval, and we have authorization and clarification from DSA that we do not.
Can you provide the clarification and approval to us, please?
We'll be sure to get that to the board.
Okay, so do we have like actual plans for USI? Because I have not seen them and I'm not sure where the turf is going.
The turf is going on the outside of the building, between Yorba Linda Boulevard and the facility. There's a diagram on our website, on the west side of the road.
I was just gonna say, it's very clearly marked on the website, it looks very nice, I like it.
And it's everybody who's walked by, it's gonna be like, they didn't think that the space was as big as it was, and they just think it's amazing.
It's actually incredible, the proposal we got. When we do turf fields at high schools, right now it's about $1.5 million. The fact that this proposal is, $100,000 to put in a new turf field, and this company does professional fields. This is the biggest installation company for turf fields, so just outstanding, and the fact that we have this timeline to get this done by September, so we can open in September. I know there's some questions about that. We will be opening in September, provided that provided I'm still here, and I hope to be, and I hope this board continues to support us, because this is really going to be exciting.
Okay, I have, if we approve this, we're gonna be almost $250,000 so far into USI, which is quite a bit of money, and I have not seen any budget to build or construct. Do we have a budget?
Well, I've gotten questions about that, and again, this board has in the past approved bigger programs with no budget that are losing money. That being said, this is part of the budget. The other part of the budget is the public RFP that we put out. Companies can submit, and so we have submittal from the vendor. We will be providing that information to the board. So I can't put a budget out until I know how much it's going to cost from companies that submit their proposals to us. And so the board will be getting that very soon, and you will have every opportunity to review and vote on every expenditure for this facility. Because like in the past, when schools like EVDA were open without study sessions or budgets, this will have a budget and plenty of time to discuss. But at this time, no, I don't have a budget per se, but I will tell you that the equipment that we're using one-time developer fee money, which is an ongoing funding source. And just the fact that we're able to do something like this for $100,000 is just incredible. So I would say the board will have a very good idea about how much we're gonna spend on equipping the facility, I would say in the next 1 to 2 months. And we'll be able to talk more about a budget when companies actually submit their proposals.
Okay, do we have, this is a lot of specialized equipment. Do we have a budget, for personnel to buy the specialized equipment, for the physical therapist, for psychologists, athletic trainer, et cetera, for all the personnel that are going in there?
The board will receive that once we get proposals from vendors.
And also, I would like a budget for the maintenance of all the equipment and also for the liability insurance for that program.
Sure.
That is also gonna be a problem.
Yeah, well, we will provide that, It's our hope that, that this new program doesn't lose $1.2 million, like the current program in that facility is, that this board hasn't requested budget for us, but we will be able to do that.
Okay, perfect. And then I just wanted to, also say, Dr. Curtis sent me information about the Fullerton sports program, and I thank you. And, I looked into this new program, and
Does this have to do with our
Yes.
IDL?
yes, it has to do with the Sports Institute.
No, that's not what
That's
this is.
not, this is
I-
about the installation of a synthetic turf. And
Okay.
so if you would like to discuss it, tell us that in your board report. I'm
Yes,
calling
sir.
for a
Wait
vote.
a second.
I'm calling for a vote.
Wait a
I'm
second.
calling for a vote.
Point of
It is a
order,
Brown Act violation.
point of order, the president has called for a vote.
And to talk about something other than what is on the agenda in front of us.
Okay,
Point of order, the president has called for a
Miss
vote.
Emily. Mrs. Buck.
No.
Mrs. Anderson.
no.
Mr. Youngblood.
Yes.
Mr. Frazier.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Vote carries 3-2 with the aye from our student board member. 17.16, please.
I move that we adopt resolution number 23-27 to authorize the use of temporary interfund borrowing for the 24-25 fiscal year.
We have a motion by Mrs. Buck. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Anderson. Go ahead.
My question is, are we anticipating any interdistrict or any interfund transfers, and could you maybe share a little bit about what that is and why we do this?
Sure, so this resolution we take to the board, I think it's been every year for the past 8 years. It basically just allows, that should the state, let's say, because in years past, they held our money from one fiscal year to another. It allows you to borrow funds from one fund to put in the general fund and then pay it back once the state. So it's just something that we do for a catch-all to make sure that the district is able to shift funds around if we need to. It does require us to pay it back within 40 days of the fiscal year. And so it's just a temporary authorization to borrow money and pay it back. We do that, obviously, especially right now, so I'm sure you've heard the news, like the state's revenues are coming in a little bit light. And so should they opt to extend our push our money into the next calendar, so fiscal year, it would give us that opportunity to shift funds around so that we would be able to extend.
And are we anticipating that this year?
I don't, so right now, right now I'd say no, right? But the governor on Friday should be releasing his main revision and we'll better idea.
Thank you very much.
Are we ready to vote? Mrs. Buck.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Youngblood.
Yes.
Mr. Frazier.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion carries 5-0. 17.22. Was it 17.20 or 17 point, I have 17.22 and 18.1.
So, 17.20, 17.20. Move that we authorize the use of various CMAS contracts for the purchase of audio and video equipment, cabling installation and training for Production Access Group, Inc. EKC Enterprises Inc., Avidex Industries LLC, and Extron Electronic effective May 8th, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Buck and a second by Mrs. Anderson.
Okay, I pulled this one because in the memo, it states that cafeteria funds are gonna be used. And I don't think we're cabling for the cafeteria, is that correct?
Yeah, so basically what we've done is included, this is, we don't have $500,000 worth of projects on the books right now. What this does, it gives us the authorization to use these CMS contracts where they're needed. So right now, no, there isn't anything in cafeteria funds that we're planning on using. It was just making sure that we have, if they did need that, we could, right? And so, meaning that it doesn't restrict us to just general fund usage, it doesn't restrict us to Fund 25 or anything else.
But if we did in the future, you could bring it back to the board for approval, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I think we should amend this one to strike out the cafeteria funds, because there's no plan of using it at this time. It's not foreseen, and just amend it and pass it. I would feel better about that.
I like it the way it is, that it strategically allows, administration to make decisions that's the best for the time being, and we still get to approve or, deny expenses that they come through. That doesn't mean they get to just use it however, so.
Yes, it is.
I agree with Mrs. Anderson that if it says cafeteria fund, then we're looking at audio video equipment for a school that doesn't qualify. So I wouldn't want to put that in with it, so I would approve it if it was amended to remove the cafeteria funds.
That wouldn't be our recommendation. Is this an allowable expense?
It depends, it might be, it depends on the project.
Okay.
I can see potential where there be AV needs in cafeteria areas where it would possibly be there, so I mean, why would we close off our options?
We're not really closing
Yeah,
off our options, we're just, if it presents itself in the future, then it can come back up. It's not, we're not shutting the door.
I see us listing general fund, child development fund, cafeteria fund, capital facility fund, and capital facilities agency fund, correct? So this gives us flexibility depending on what the expenditure is, correct?
Yes.
When the actual project comes forward, will we identify where that funding source is?
Yes.
Okay, then our recommendation is not to make a change at this time.
Okay. Well, one more question. What are the projects that are currently listed for that, besides the ones that are listed in the memo?
So we provided in the memo, and then we provided the board updates. So my understanding, and I'm Jeremy here, is that in case we need to get some more details, but we have upgrades to the equipment in all of the music rooms at all middle and high schools. We have at Esperanza High School, we have a media room that's going to be used for recording that we're putting in with it as well. And then we have other projects.
That was the bulk. The other item is just continued conversion of a few of the classrooms where they're using a second input to digital panel, which helps with the signal and just the quality of the slide from those second locations in the classroom. And we will be adding audio in the elementary classrooms, music classrooms as well. Probably focusing more on a portable system for those, since those classrooms.
So question, if the audio system being used is something that is like PAs or whatnot?
In the music classrooms?
Just anywhere?
So it's distributed speakers in most of our classrooms. Most speakers, distributed classrooms to produce the sound. No.
Instructional?
Yeah.
Not like the PA?
Not PA, this is just
Okay.
All right, call for a vote. Mrs. Buck?
No.
Mrs. Anderson?
No.
Mr. Youngblood?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, vote carries 3-2. All Alright, so next would be 17.22.
17.22, I move that we approve contract renewal for crossing guard services at city locations with all city management services Inc. effective July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Buck and a second by Mrs. Anderson.
I'm bringing this up because the city of Placentia does not contribute to their crossing guards, and years ago, when they were in a financial difficulty, that's when this adjustment changed, and there was always plans to revisit that. So I'm bringing this up just so that we're constantly having that conversation, and potentially next year having either a blended model or having the city of Placentia take that back.
I second that. I think we should go back to them and ask them if the city of Placentia is financially stable from where they were several years ago, and I think they had $2 in their account at the end of 1 year. And relook at that.
Absolutely, this should be a point of conversation.
And if you want my help, I'd be happy to go.
Alright, call for a vote. Mrs. Buck.
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson.
Aye.
Mr. Youngblood.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
And I am an aye. 18.1.
I make a motion, we approve revisions to the following board policies: 5128.1, 5128.2, 5128.3, and did I say that right? Yes, and 5218.4. They switched on me there.
Second.
I have more to read. Sorry, as they relate to the graduation requirements for comprehensive high school, continuation high school, adult school, and alternative independent high school studies, and I want individually.
No, a second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mrs. Buck and a second by Mr. Youngblood.
So I pulled these, one, because they're board policy, and I think that we should review board policy and have even a brief discussion or explanation of what this is. So can you go through the grad requirements and what has changed in relation to special education and also the grad requirements that were listed in each of those areas? The work requirements, I had a few questions.
Certainly, I can start with I can start with the special ed requirements. So what's happened is new legislation that makes concessions for students with disabilities. 1% of our students with disabilities can take the California Alternative Assessment, and rather than have them not graduate with what's called a diploma, they're calling it an alternative pathway to a diploma. This is intended, as it says here in number 1 on the underline 1, that it's only those who take the alternative assessment. And so we are part of a consortium that is working together to develop a course of study with the County of Orange, OCDE, and we're developing that for our students. And so students with IEPs are able to have that as an alternative. One thing that is really clear with these students is they will count toward our graduation rate, which is great. But the second thing is they will be able to also stay in our adult transition program.
Can you maybe give a little bit of what that changed, what it used to look like as before this change?
What it used to look like is there was something called a certificate of achievement or certificate of completion for these students. And so this would not count toward the graduation rate for them. And that is something that we actually need to improve for our students on IEPs. And there was not an alternative course of study that was actually created for them.
I have a question about work experience. Because it's listed in our adult high graduation school, and it's also listed in our comprehensive, but it's not listed work experience for independent study or continuation. And it's described in the 2 other ones that it's described in is differently. And I just want to make sure that we all understand what work experience is and making sure it's applied equally to all of these different board policies.
Yes, absolutely. So work experience should be something that we would want to add into all 4, so that students can be able
to receive credit for that, and that's something that we're looking to add in so that as we continue to expand our work-based learning opportunities for students, that they can receive high school credits towards their graduation for that. And so we definitely be agreeable to adding it to the that it was missing.
I'm kind of interested in what the requirements are, like how many hours do they work, is it for the whole semester, or what does that look like when you're getting credits for it?
Sure, so there's different examples that are applied in different districts as well as in the County of Office Education. We're working very closely with OCDE. What we typically see is something like 2.5 credits for an average of 2 hours per week on the job, for maybe about 15 weeks and 30 hours total. 5 credits for an average of 4 hours per week on the job experience for a minimum of 15 weeks. And so we just wanted to have the ability, as we're expanding our college and career readiness and work-based learning for students, to be able to provide credits to students who are working.
Can you give us that information so that we have that? And then, is this something, I'm thinking that this should probably come back for a second reading and add it to the other ones so that we're being equal to all the other, and maybe even an explanation in here so that it's, you know, a little bit more clear. Because, like I said, the one for the adult, it's like if there's skilled labor, you know, in their trade, and it's just not really clear. And I wanna just make sure that there's no miscommunications.
So if we could bring it back for a second read, have that, all of that kind of cleaned up a little bit, that would be perfect.
Sure, we could bring it back, but the adult education one will be different than the others because that's specific to vendor category schools. And so it would be the general language that's in the comprehensive high school, which is very general. And I believe this is work experience.
Yeah, that's all it says.
And then it would be in administrative regulations where we would lay out what that would look like, the details of it. And so we can simply add in the line to the remaining 2, or we could consider bringing it back for a second one, but it would just be that general line, it would be the administrative regulations where we lay out the details.
Okay,
Yeah, the details, the policy, the details would go outside of that.
Right, and I think it'd be good for us to all have those details, because we were given those. And then the other thing I noticed in almost all the policies, some of the numbering is off. You know, we get rid of number 3, so number 5 should be number 4, and number 5 should be number 6. For the comprehensive high school, and then, for the continuation high school, we have letter I, for multicultural studies, and then we have letter I for service learning, community service. Would that be J then, and K for elective courses?
So maybe some clarity. It's just all a formatting struggle with Word.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, it will all be cleaned up when the strike throughs are reviewed.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking if we could fix some of that up, that would help, so we know exactly what we're approving.
Dr. Young, as it stands right now, would you recommend that we take it as is?
With the addition of the line.
With the addition of it?
So you're comfortable, because if it's brought back to us, there might just be a change in the I and then a line. And that's what would be brought back, because, so we could potentially approve this tonight, and then you can, like, not fluff, but the extra stuff, you could send it to us separately, so we know what was behind it all.
Yes, the formatting works, once we delete the strike throughs, it will reformat the letters and numbers. So that would be fixed. And then we just do the addition of the words.
And we've approved things like this before, when there just has to be adding the line, and then, you know, the format, so I'm good.
We typically do 2 reads, and if it's in consent calendar, it shouldn't give me trouble to put it in and just make the corrections if that would be acceptable.
I just think it should come back. Especially since it's missing out of 2 policies already, just to make sure it reads right. I mean, I'll turn on my light. I think it should come back for a second read, board policy is direct responsibility of the board, and I feel like we should make sure we're doing our due diligence.
So are you wanting a second read because the lettering is off because of Microsoft Word?
No, because the work experience, how it's not in two of the policies, and it's worded kind of weird.
The single line?
You want me to read it to you out loud?
Well, what we're talking about is a single line. And so if that's all that we've done, I don't think that that warrants a second read.
It wouldn't harm to do a second read if it's in consent calendar and fixed.
Let's get it done.
You know, let's just, we'll go ahead and we'll call for a vote. Mrs.
Okay,
Buck?
let me just read to you what it says.
Todd, you need her to read what it says.
Looking at it
All right, you're looking at it.
So it says no more than 20 of these elective credits may be earned in work experience or service-based courses. So I just want us to be clear what work experience is, what did you call it? Work-based learning. And maybe we just add that kind of clarification in there.
Ms. Anderson, board president called for a vote. Point of order, board president called for a vote.
Mrs. Buck?
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson?
I'm gonna say no.
Mr. Youngblood?
Aye.
Mr. Frazier?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Vote carries 4-1.
I would like a copy of it.
20.7, please.
I'm sorry, did you say 20 points? Okay.
That's what I was told. I think Mrs. Anderson told us.
I'm just in there. Okay, yes, I did pull this one. So,
I need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the certificated human resource report.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Anderson and a second by Mr. Youngblood.
Okay, I pulled this one because we are no longer voting on principals and directors in our closed session. And as approving the HR report, we're symbolically approving these. And so I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that when we approve this, that Sarah Barton will be appointed principal at Tuffrey, David Yakamoto, principal at El Dorado, Hannah Chapman, assistant principal at Tuffrey Middle School, Chad Halo, assistant principal at Carimo Middle School, Richard Nagy, assistant principal at Yorba Linda Middle School, Christopher Losoya, assistant principal at Glenview Elementary School, and Sylvia Cuesta as early childhood education director number 2. And I just think it's important that we know who these people are and that we are approving these, and that's why I pulled it.
Okay, can I clarify? Actually, Ms. Anderson, you have it opposite and wrong. The appointment in closed session, which you were doing, is actually symbolic. What you have here is what is official. The board cannot approve these employees in closed session. They must approve them in open session on the personnel report. So what you have here is the same as before. This is the official board approval. There is no board approval of these members in closed session. It's against the law. And so what you were doing was symbolic.
It wasn't against the law if it's reported out. So even though it was symbolic, it was important, at least for me, because I thought it was a nice way to be able to talk about people and to bring it up and celebrate the fact that they're getting these positions. So thank you for pointing it out, and congratulations to all of these employees.
Yeah, and we do celebrate them, and we've sent out celebration emails to everyone. In the case of the assistant principals, we don't typically have them come to board meetings. But again, the board action in closed session, the symbolic action is truly symbolic. And so we are doing what is appropriate. And so I'm trying to be as transparent with the community as possible. Is the lawful board action to approve these folks, is what you have here before you on 20.7.
Thank you. I'll move for a vote. Mrs. Buck.
Aye.
Mrs. Anderson.
Aye.
Mr. Youngblood.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries 5-0. And that will conclude our consent calendar. And we will go into our communications and board report, Mrs. Buck. And is that all 5 of us are going to do a board report? Todd, are you doing a board report?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 30 minutes for the 5 of us.
Okay, well, good evening, everybody. I just have my calendar going, so my first one on the list is local century, so I'm just gonna highlight it and I'm gonna make sure to leave that most of it open for you, because I know you run it, Mrs. Anderson. I was lucky enough to get the job of photographer, so I got to go to Valencia High School, Kramer Middle School, and Ruby Drive to go around and take pictures of all the projects happening, and to thank all of the volunteers who are making our schools look beautiful while they were there that day. I also attended the Valencia High School Distinguished Scholar Awards with Mr. Gary Stein. We watched Chris Hertzfeld and his staff that had a coordinated, efficient program that recognized all their distinguished scholars prior to their senior award ceremony, and it was a nice evening. I attended the North Orange County ROP Celebration of Success, recognizing one ROP school board or student from each high school, and tomorrow night we'll be recognizing retired board members and employees before our regularly scheduled meeting. I went to the North Orange County Angels baseball night, it was also Star Wars night, and instead of fireworks that night, they had a drone show, and it was really cool, with all of the different Star Wars characters and sword fights with all the drones in the sky. Hadn't ever seen anything quite as exciting as that related to drones. So I wanted to highlight that next year at El Camino Real High School, there will be a drone course available for after school for all of the high school students in the district. So if you're interested, or if you have a student that's interested, talk to the high school counselor to get signed up for that class. I attended the PTA 4th Council meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they held a Braver Angels workshop on better ways to communicate in polarizing times. It was a great presentation, and I just received the information today that I'm going to pass along to Dr. Chernis so that he can look at it as well. In our board agenda, there were a couple of items. One was the jazz concert at Esperanza that I happened to stop by during that week, and one of our former students who is a musician came back and was working with the students. It was a remarkable experience, and what a great way to bring our former students back and celebrate with our new students. I just wanted to highlight that as well because I got to specifically see it. Additionally, last weekend, the very special arts event was at Main Place Mall, and the Venture Academy Choir had a performance there led by Carmen Cointreau, and as you all heard in the meeting last month, they did a phenomenal job, so it was nice to go see them there for that performance, and congratulations to them. I had planned on attending the Special Education Advisory Committee meeting, but I didn't get the update on the information, but I will be checking the minutes. But I wanted to let everybody know that if you are interested in those advisory committee meetings, the minutes are posted on the superintendent's page of our district website, so you can go in there and see all of the discussion and items that they're discussing. So I'll be checking into that. Last weekend, I attended the dental clinic that was held at Melrose Elementary that was put on by the Placentia Rotary. I want to thank the Rotary for facilitating that event, thank the staff for working that event as well. It was amazing. There were almost 100 students, 99 actually, that had signed up to come in and get free dental care. USC teachers that had started this program years ago started it up again, and this year they brought in, it didn't run through USC specifically, it was an organization called IUDA, and UCI students, dental students came and assisted doctors that had flown in from all over the United States that were part of this program to work on all of our students and parents. to get some dental care that they really needed. So thank you to the Placentia Rotary for facilitating that event and bringing it back. It had been gone for a few years, and this was the 5th time. Last night I attended the student recognition event at the Performing Arts Center at El Dorado. It was a great way to recognize our students and hear about each of them individually. There's plenty of space in that area, in that room. Instead of here at the boardroom, you can tell how packed it can get in here. So it's nice to recognize all of them there in that special event, to have all their parents there to be able to watch. Looking forward to the community recognition coming up later this month. Let's see. I did want to clarify, there's been some talk on social media that I've received and some emails to board members regarding transfers from other districts, and I just wanted to make sure we're following our inter-district transfer requirements as stated in our board policy 5119.2, and that means that all of the agreements of inter-district transfers, they must be approved by the residents they're coming from before we add them to our roster. So I just wanted to make sure that we're following those. And I did have a question related to that I didn't get a chance to submit earlier, but I'll ask now and maybe not be able to give me the information now, but after the board meeting. How many students have been released and transferred to PYLUSD? Where are we with, specifically with the USI and the Bernardo Yoba OCSCS? And then when they are requesting transfer from one district to another, is there any enrollment window? Is it perpetual, or we have transfers between schools here and we have a particular window? So I was just curious if there's a set date of enrollment window for students to choose when they're moving from one district to another. And I also had received a request from a community member to have the podium available for public comment, so thank you for doing that. I know it's a heavy lift. I watched you guys scoot it around, but I appreciate that. That helps people feel a little bit more comfortable, have a place to put their documents, and then also if they need a little balance support, that's there for them. So thank you for that. And on the last note, thank you all to all the teachers and the classified staff that we're honoring this week and that we're honoring in the next upcoming weeks for Classified Employee Week, and this week for Teacher Appreciation. Thank you so much for all you do, all you've done for all of my children over the time that they've been here. My youngest is graduating next month. That's a bittersweet time for me, and I also have a new grandchild that will be born over the summer. So it's an important time, and so thank you for all that you've done for all of my children so much.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I think I'm gonna be switching my board report today. First, I wanna be clear that I knew about developer fees. The board passes them every December. There's a report and it's all outlined. You can go to any December board agenda and pull up that report. And that's why I gave everybody a packet, because there was so much confusion on what it was. Second, like I said, Dr. Turnus gave me information about the Fullerton sports program. And so I did my due diligence, and I spoke to a board member, I called one of the providers, and I attended the parent meeting. So let me give you the lowdown. Basically, Fullerton School District is partnering with several different organizations, sports programs, dance teams, swim, etc. And it's through independent study, so they're facilitating their students take their first 5 courses for the 4 courses plus an elective, and then they be released for independent study. And they're monitoring their logs and making sure they're getting those. What the district is not doing is paying for those specialized training. It is not free. I talked to the director of operations for Delta, which was one of the largest ones there, and the fee for that is $10,000 a year. and they don't provide the district doesn't provide transportation or anything. So again, there is no free specialized sports training program that I am aware of, and if anyone can find me one, I'd be happy to research it and report about it. So also, because I keep getting cut off, I talked to our attorney and also some people that are experts in the Brown Act. And once you bring a program up like USI, we can talk about it because that is how you talk about it, why you would vote for it or why you would not. So you don't have, it's not on the limited thing, and I suggest that you talk to our attorney about that.
I did.
And, good, because I did too. And then, maybe we should get an opinion. And then also, I wanted to let our president know, just remind her of the roles of the president in board bylaw 9121. It's number 6, recognize persons who desire to speak and protect the speaker who has the floor from disturbances and interference. And 7, facilitate the board's effective deliberation, ensuring that each board member has an opportunity to participate in the deliberation, and that discussion remains focused. And I'll just pass this on to you. And I just wanted to remind everybody that when we had the critical race theory, Mrs. Freeman and Mrs. Buck were president during that time, and they did not agree with that discussion, but they made sure that all of our voices were heard. And we were never cut off or called to vote. They let us deliberate and have our discussion. And I can also remember a time when we were writing a letter to the governor, and Mrs. Buck was president at that time. And Mrs. Freeman, she stated her objection and why she wouldn't vote for it. And then we were able to continue. She didn't keep interrupting us or things like that. So I just want the same respect that's been given in the past. Also, the last couple of agenda items in the closed session, there's been information about the Palaki lawsuit. And it's not in the agenda anymore because it was dismissed by the judge. Woo! So I just wanted to put that information out. Also, last month I requested several items during the meeting. Requested expenditures related to the Orange County Computer Science School. Requested on the innovation labs and the budget. I requested amended budgets for preschools and the ELOP program, requested estimated budgets for TK expansions, including buildings, playgrounds, and bathrooms, and equipment. I requested documentation or budgets that we have reserved to pay for the TK expansion coming forward. And I asked about how many student athletes that we have currently that compete at the state, national, and Olympic level. I have not received my information, so this is my official letter to Dr. Chernus. As a board member and as a public records request, and also I've included everything from tonight's meeting that I added, and I'll be sending an email as well. The Arts, Music, and Instructional Block Grant. So let's talk about this. This is very interesting because the budgets have been amended without board approval. And according to our board policy 3170, budget control, budget administrators have to be advised periodically of the conformity of the expenditures to the budget approved by the Board of Education. And when it's necessary to extend the control limits established by the board, a request to transfer funds may be recommended. So if they are changing the budget, they need to notify the board and we need to approve it. Also, board policy 3120, preparation of budget documents. The financial records shall also be adequate to see as a guide for budget estimates and to hold expenditures to the amounts appropriate. It doesn't mean that that's how we know we're spending our money correctly, that we're not just changing it. So I'm just asking that we keep our, follow our own bylaws, and since we've not had any updates since the grant was voted, and the integrity of what the board passed in September has been compromised, I'm requesting that the original totals be restored and the budget to the board approved in the September 2023 be utilized. I'm requesting any alterations of any budget grant that was board approved to be reviewed to verify the original approval and the integrity of the spending is followed. And this will facilitate our policies and the service notifications. We've had first and second interim and none of this came up in it. So, and then, I have the notes from the parent meeting if anyone's interested. It has QR codes, et cetera, and all my notes are checked. Also, so now.
Alright, we're in past 6 minutes.
Okay.
Past 7 minutes.
7 minutes? I think you did 9 last time, so I'll just follow
We
your
have a board member when it came to me, so we're under the 30s. There was only 4 board member reports.
So I'll just highlight a few, and I'll just start with congratulating our comprehensive high schools for their rankings in US. And I've attended a lot of things, including exceptional educators, main place choir, attended Finding Nemo by Linda Vista. I attended the Rio Vista Health Fair, which was amazing. The dental clinic, the student recognition ceremony. And I would just like to express gratitude for all those who came out to volunteer for Love Placentia and Love Your Belinda. We had, between the 2 days, we had over 1,600 volunteers participate and completed 6,400 volunteer hours at a value of $250,000. So thank you to everybody. And our classified staff as well. And I hope everyone takes a moment to thank somebody.
All right, good evening, folks. I wanted to let you know that I had attended the Esperanza Senior Awards held at Valencia High School. Myself and Dr. Gray were there, and it was incredible to see these kids that have achieved throughout 4 years, and just the directions which they're going off to. Some of them that are not just nationally or in the state, national, but some of them are even going internationally. It's just it's incredible to see all these kids, including our own student board member. She was truly just a light that shined up there. So I wanted to congratulate her and all of her classmates on that kind of achievement. So, it was a pretty good time. I also wanted to just re-thank teachers just for your year-long dedication. It's a shame to me that there's really only 1 week put for teacher appreciation. It should be something that could be extended out a whole month, but even though you may hear a lot of bashing against unions and the like, we do appreciate our teachers' children's teachers. Let this like say that. So once again, also wanted to send a big thanks out to Dr. Chernis. Dr. Chernis is in the process of helping me gather information for a new career pathway to be brought to our district. This career pathway would be in conjunction with the North Orange County Regional Occupation Center and its emergency response pathway. And in this pathway, students would be able to take up something like fire technology. I don't know why I really like that, but yes, fire technology, also emergency response, and get an emergency medical technician certificate to go through this program. So thank you. Looking forward to a lot more graduations coming up next month. Holy cow, it's already here on us. More of these senior awards are coming up, and I appreciate all of our board members that are able to make those, because it's really great for these kids to look up there and see all of their school leaders and administrators there to kind of give them just a congratulations. So, thank you guys again, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Mr. Frazier.
All right, well, it's been said already several times, but thank you so much to all the teachers. I think it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways, that Placentia Unified School District teachers are some of the best around by far. And I wouldn't be a part of this board and my students wouldn't attend this district if that wasn't the truth. So I would really appreciate each and every one of the educators and all that you do. I had the opportunity to attend if you haven't had a chance, the Comedy Sports High School League at Yorba Linda High School Theater. I always enjoy every time I come to see anything that Ms. Pettis and the theater crew puts on. And it is, if you haven't seen Whose Lines It Anyways, it's improv comedy, and we had a great time. I believe next Friday the 17th, if you're available to come check it out at Yorba Linda High School. I've heard a rumor that it's students versus teachers, so that could be entertaining if you're looking for something to do on a Friday night. Anyways, always enjoy seeing the kids do what they do best and enjoy their gifts on stage, specifically with Yorba Linda and all the other schools as well. In addition, I also want to just briefly touch on the USI. Trustee Anderson brought up Fullerton, which I think is a great opportunity for us to showcase that we are doing something different. Fullerton is partnering with other vendors to do it outside of the district and bringing them in, whereas we are doing a completely different in-house type of program, which I think is innovative and really sets a new standard. So I am excited about how this is looking and how it's shaping up. I'm not sure what the comments I've heard about, well, there's no way that this is free. Well, it's part of the ADA funding that's going to take care of it. The developer funds are going to build it, and students are coming and excited to be part of it. So that's the end of my board report. I wish you all a happy Mother's Day, and I look forward to being with you next week.
Thank you, Todd. I was able to attend the Yorba Linda Women's Club awards and then also the awards last night. And I've also attended a few other things that I don't want to go over the 6 minutes this time. So I'm going to talk about some things that have been going around on social media accusing people of book bans. And so one thing that was shared to us from us by our attorney, which I don't know if people realize, is that Penal Code Section 313.1 and also Education Code 60200.5 and Education Code 233.5 is what is giving the authority for school districts to pull pornographic material out of the library.
Keep pulling it.
If a librarian or a teacher or somebody slips in some type of pornographic book into the library, it says every person who, with knowledge that a person is a minor or who fails to exercise reasonable care in ascertaining the true age of a minor, knowingly sells, rents, distributes, sends, causes to be sent, exhibits, or offers to distribute or exhibit by any means any harmful manner to the minor shall be punished as specified in section 313.5. Harmful matter means matter taken as a whole, which to the average person applying contemporary statewide standards appeals to the prurient, that's the word, interest, and is matter taken as a whole depicts or describes in a patently offensive way sexual conduct, and which taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value for minors. So if we have books in our library that are pornographic, which we have, we are actually following the law of California and Ed Code. So we shouldn't be talking that we're banning books. What we're doing is we are following the law. And other school districts have tried to start doing committees, and they've started, let's get a committee and have the parents go and pull the book. You don't need the committee, you have it right here. It's the law, and if it stays in the library, who is the person who's going to get arrested? Who gets arrested for that? Is it the librarian, is it the teacher, or is it Dr. Chernus, is it us? Who's responsible? So we're following the law, we're not banning books. I'm sure you can go to the public library, you can go to Amazon, you can go wherever you like to purchase the book. However, it is against the law for it to be in a school library. That the CTA is opposing SB 1435, which requires the governing board of a school district to exclude from schools and school libraries serving pupils in preschool through grade 8 all books, publications, or papers that contain obscene manners. And so we really should be asking and working together with our unions and asking these questions why they're opposing a bill that would keep this type of material and things that are actually violating the penal code and ed code. Why are they trying to get it into the library for ages K through 8? I've had several teachers and I've had several community members. One in particular, she hounds me. She wants armed school resource officers at all of our schools. And so Bill Asaley has brought forward a bill that the CTA is also opposing, which is to hire or contract with at least one armed school resource officer or someone authorized to carry a firearm to be present at each school in a district or charter or when pupils are present. And so I think what we need to be doing is we need to be talking to our local unions and advocating and working together to try to not only stay within the law in our libraries, but also to keep our kids safe. Because why would we oppose any type of measure, especially in this day and age, that wouldn't keep our kids safe? Bernardo, the empty room that's going to be the innovation lab for everybody to see. No problem. I just wanted everybody to know that the innovation lab at Orange County School of Computer Science, it is essentially, they gave us a, when we all went, as I spoke last time, they showed us everything that was going to be in this. And so Garner and Holt is the company, one of the companies that is partnering with us. And what Garner and Holt is if you guys are all familiar with Disneyland, which I know I am, I spent many years at Disneyland when my kids were little. The Fantasmic and the Electrical Parade, all of that stuff, that computer, the robotics, that is all what is going to be in that innovation lab. So here's the video, let's see if it will go, but this is the room. Okay, it's okay. So anyways, it's a picture of the room that we were discussing where the innovation lab is gonna be, and from what I was seeing on some social media posts, there was people on there saying, just give kids Chromebooks and some Wi-Fi, and they'll be set for a computer science school. Well, we're taking that.
I'm here in 201.
What we're here to tell you is that right now the kids do have a Chromebook and they do have Wi-Fi. And so we are taking it up to the next level. So Garner and Holt is huge. There's gonna be big expectations. So this is not just coding. And this is a bigger step. In fact, there's going to be I think they're getting their robot, or Bernard Yorga is getting their robot for their innovation lab. So this is more than just what the public's trying to say, give a kid a Chromebook and Wi-Fi. And I'll tell you, when we were at the wrestling tournament at Valencia, I was trying to go live on Instagram to show everybody the crowd, and I couldn't because the Wi-Fi was so bad. So that would be one thing that we should up, because that's my constant complaint, is I can never do anything because the Wi-Fi is so bad. So there's more to the Orange County School of Computer Science than just a Chromebook and some Wi-Fi. They have been working to up the ante and to do so many good things. And I think everybody here should research Garner and Holt. About our partnership with the Nixon Library and our civics, and the Yorba Linda Buzz and the Placentia Buzz refused to post it. And so that's another thing we just have to be very aware of, is that there's social media sites that are not ever going to try to reflect what is going on and what is good that's happening in our district. So that's why we keep saying, watch the board meetings, talk to the board, talk to the superintendent, because there's people in the community who don't want to see us succeed. So they just